Well, 2026 has already given us some amazing games, but the rest of the year is about to get even crazier. Some of these titles have been anticipated for years, and one of them you already know very well. So today we're talking about the most anticipated upcoming games of 2026, along with a few surprise titles that might completely steal the spotlight. If you're ready, let's begin. Metro 2039. The Metro series is finally returning with the sequel fans have been waiting for ever since Metro Exodus. And honestly, the trailer alone already has people incredibly hyped. This time, instead of playing as Artyom, we'll step into the shoes of a brand new protagonist. And unlike the open-surface exploration of Exodus, Metro 2039 is taking us back into the dark underground tunnels where the series truly built its identity. 4A Games' Ukrainian development team seems to be putting a much heavier focus on storytelling this time around, with the game exploring the occupied Moscow metro through the perspective of this new character. You can already feel a darker and more emotional tone compared to previous games. Honestly, I'm expecting some major gameplay upgrades too. The graphics already look insane. The atmosphere is exactly what Metro fans wanted, and unless something goes horribly wrong, this is absolutely one of the games I'll be playing day one.
I was not born into greatness. I carved my name into it.
One of the most beloved Assassin's Creed games of all time is officially getting a remake. Yep, we're going back to the Caribbean as Edward Kenway, and experiencing those legendary naval battles again with modern graphics is going to feel incredible. Ubisoft says they're preserving the original spirit of the game, meaning the ship customization, sea exploration, and iconic pirate shanties are all still there. And honestly, that's exactly what people wanted to hear. But the best part about this remake is something else entirely. A whole new generation of players will finally get to experience what many people consider the best Assassin's Creed game ever made. And if this remake succeeds, maybe Ubisoft will finally realize people actually want remakes of the older AC games too. Honestly, I'd love to see that happen. Let me know what you think.
In that case,
well, what are we waiting for?
The moment IO Interactive announced they were making a James Bond game, expectations instantly exploded, and honestly, for good reason. These are the same developers behind the Hitman series, and they already proved they know how to create incredible stealth gameplay. 007 First Light tells the story of a younger, inexperienced 26-year-old Bond before he became the legendary agent everyone knows. That alone already makes the game feel fresh. What's exciting is that the gameplay seems to fully embrace player freedom. You can approach missions stealthily, like a classic spy thriller, or go loud and eliminate enemies in full action movie style. Visually, the game already looks fantastic, and according to reports, it'll offer around 20 hours of gameplay with a release date set for May 27, 2026. Honestly, this could end up being the best James Bond game we've had in years.
Port Desire. A city that don't belong to anyone, but everyone wants a piece.
No Law. No Law looks like it wants to push the open-world genre into something far more chaotic, gritty, and unrestricted. The game takes place in a cyber-noir coastal city filled with crime, corruption, and morally broken characters. You play as Gray Harker, a former soldier trying to leave his violent past behind and live a normal life. But of course, things never stay peaceful for long. To be honest, after Cyberpunk 2077, this might be one of the few games that truly captures that immersive cyberpunk atmosphere again. The city already looks dense and stylish. The tone feels dark and mature, and if the writing is strong enough, this could become something really special. Mortal Shell 2. When the first Mortal Shell released back in 2020, people were pretty divided on it. Most players agreed that visually it looked amazing, but many felt the gameplay systems weren't deep enough to carry the experience. This time though, Cold Symmetry seems far more ambitious. Mortal Shell 2 looks darker, larger, and significantly more refined. The combat still focuses heavily on precise parrying and brutal finishing attacks, but the shell mechanic is returning too, allowing you to inhabit different bodies and completely change your fighting style depending on the situation. Even from the short demo footage we've seen, the enemy designs and boss fights already look incredibly promising. If you're a Souls-like fan searching for something different from the usual formula, this might end up being one of the strongest options of the year.
I'll bring that heat.
Road Kings has already caught the attention of people who love games like Euro Truck Simulator, but this game seems to be aiming for something much more intense and unpredictable. Instead of simply driving peacefully from point A to point B, it looks like we'll constantly deal with dangerous terrain, difficult road conditions, and unexpected obstacles throughout the journey. Honestly, it has huge potential. The problem is that the developers haven't shared much recently, so it's still hard to know exactly how polished the final game will be. But personally, I really believe this game could surprise a lot of people if they get it right.
Consumed by the void.
Chrono Odyssey is one of the most ambitious projects coming out of Korea right now. Developed by NPixel, the game blends MMORPG systems with action RPG gameplay. But honestly, even that description doesn't fully explain what makes it interesting. The biggest mechanic separating it from other MMOs is the time manipulation system. You'll move between different timelines and realities while fighting enemies across multiple dimensions, which sounds insanely ambitious if they can pull it off properly. Using Unreal Engine 5, the game already looks visually stunning, and the world itself appears absolutely massive. If the storytelling can match the scale of the visuals, this could easily become one of the most talked about MMORPGs in years. And even though I'm not usually deeply invested in MMOs, this is one I'll definitely try myself. Read Light On is one of the most unique-looking tactical shooters I've seen recently because the entire game is presented through bodycam footage. You play as a police officer investigating dangerous cases while balancing both combat situations and detective-style investigation mechanics. Instead of being just another shooter, the developers are clearly aiming for a much more immersive and story-driven experience. They're also promising layered dialogue systems, difficult choices, and new gameplay mechanics that constantly keep the experience feeling fresh. Honestly, the second I saw this game, I instantly added it to my wish list. Too Deep to Quit is a 1-4-player co-op survival and exploration game where you and your team enter cursed temples in search of priceless treasure. But surviving is the real challenge. As you explore deeper into the ruins, you'll constantly need to avoid deadly traps, terrifying creatures, and dangerous environmental hazards. And the important part is this: every teammate matters. One mistake from a single player can completely ruin the entire run. The game looks chaotic, stressful, and honestly, really fun with friends. If the progression system is good enough, this could easily become one of those hidden co-op gems people suddenly discover out of nowhere. Wall World Strategy. You might already know Wall World, but this new entry wants to massively expand the strategy side of the formula. You manage a base attached to a gigantic wall, and every new layer introduces stronger enemies, harder resource management, and more dangerous decisions. The tower defense gameplay is still there, but now the research systems and expansion mechanics seem far deeper than before. After every wave, you constantly have to make difficult choices. What should you build next? Which direction should you expand toward? Which threat is the biggest priority? And honestly, that addictive just one more run feeling already seems stronger than ever.
Just take care of your little freaking robo-zoo and let me do my thing.
Artificial Detective is a brand new game where we play as a robo-detective in a dystopian city completely overrun by rogue robots. And honestly, that premise alone was enough for me to wishlist it immediately, because the game looks really weird in the best way possible. As a robot detective, we're trying to uncover why humanity disappeared while fighting through a massive metropolis controlled by insane machines. You'll investigate crimes, battle robots, and slowly piece together what actually happened to the world. The atmosphere looks super unique, and I'm genuinely really curious to see more of this game.
You'll land on the coast.
Black Budget takes the extraction shooter genre and mixes it with PUBG's already great gunplay and map design philosophy. This isn't a standard battle royale anymore. Smaller squads, way higher stakes, and real consequences if you fail. Every mission is about completing objectives while also surviving long enough to escape with your loot. The weapon customization and tactical gameplay already look really promising. Games like Tarkov dominate this genre right now, but PUBG's more accessible style could make this huge. If you enjoy strategy, survival, and tense firefights, this is definitely one to watch. Fragmentary Order, the creator of Escape from Tarkov, is coming back with a brand new tactical action RPG called Fragmentary Order. But unlike Tarkov, this game is aiming for something way more unique, because instead of Earth, the game takes place in space. Set in the year 2251 after humanity's collapse, civilization has spread across the galaxy, and your main goal is to enter dangerous combat zones, collect valuable loot, survive, and extract safely. The more loot you bring back, the better. On top of that, the game will also feature an economy system and different factions, which could make every run feel even more dynamic. The Blood of Dawnwalker. The former developers behind The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 already managed to hype everyone up with their new game, The Blood of Dawnwalker. Set in 14th century Europe, you play as Cohen, a man who is human during the day and a vampire at night while trying to save his family. During daytime, combat focuses more on swords and human abilities, but once night falls, vampire powers completely change the gameplay. That duality alone gives the game a really interesting identity. They also describe the game as a narrative sandbox, meaning your choices are supposed to have major consequences on the world around you. It launches on September 3rd, 2026, and honestly, I'll probably play this on day one. Clockfall. Clockfall combines roguelike mechanics, dungeon crawling, and village defense into one game, which honestly sounds exactly like the kind of thing I love. Your village has already been destroyed, and a mysterious clock traps you inside the same disaster over and over again. In every loop, you enter dungeons, gather resources, unlock new weapons and spells, then return to defend your village from the next invasion. But the most important mechanic is time itself, because your most valuable resource here is literally the clock. The longer you survive, the stronger you become. If you enjoy both strategy and action games, there's a really high chance you'll love this. The first Grime was one of the most unique Metroidvania games in years, absorbing enemies, exploring strange organic worlds, and mastering its satisfying combat system made it stand out instantly. Now Cloverbyte is expanding everything with Grime 2. The new mechanics and larger world already look really impressive. Exploring this strange living world made out of rock and flesh was one of the strongest parts of the original game, and thankfully that atmosphere still seems intact here. There really aren't many games that blend Souls-like difficulty and Metroidvania exploration this well, so this instantly went onto my wish list. DrownLight is a survival and city-building game set in a world swallowed by water, and honestly, if you enjoyed Frostpunk, there's a good chance you'll like this too. You build your city around a lighthouse, manage resources, expand your settlement, and make difficult decisions that shape the future of your people. Every choice matters because your only real goal is simple: keep the city alive no matter what happens. Blackfrost, The Long Dark 2. Back in 2014, The Long Dark proved how incredible survival games could be, and now Hinterland is returning with something much bigger. Blackfrost, The Long Dark 2 transforms northern Canada into a massive co-op survival RPG after a devastating Aurora disaster. With radioactive Blackfrost storms, both urban and wilderness environments, NPC communities, and a new will-to-live system, this already looks far more ambitious than the first game. If they pull this off correctly, it could become one of the best survival games in years.
Recent flooding and pandemic.
The Sinking City 2. The first Sinking City wasn't loved by everyone, even though it had an amazing Lovecraft-inspired atmosphere and detective-focused open world. But this sequel looks way more ambitious. Frogwares now has a much bigger budget and years of extra experience. And honestly, it shows. Cosmic horror, disturbing mysteries, and a slowly collapsing city are still at the center of the story, but the gameplay already looks far more polished this time around. The detective mechanics and combat seem much better balanced, and visually the atmosphere looks significantly stronger than the first game.
What you doing up there?
I'm just fixing some leaks.
And yes, of course we were going to talk about GTA 6, the game literally everyone has been waiting for. Rockstar has kept us waiting for years, and honestly, I'm just happy that we're finally getting close to playing it. Returning to Vice City, exploring a modern version of Miami with insane graphics, causing chaos, and experiencing new missions already sounds incredible. But besides the story mode, I'm honestly just as curious about GTA Online because Rockstar could do some crazy things with it. What are you expecting from GTA 6? Let's talk about it in the comments.